In a bustling city, a young woman named Nafisa arrives at a prestigious company, Luxcorp, to start her new job as a secretary. Nafisa is known for her striking beauty, particularly her voluptuous figure, which catches the eye of everyone around her. Her arrival at Luxcorp sets the stage for an unfolding drama that will challenge the bonds of loyalty and marriage. Nafisa meets her boss, Mr. Kwame, a powerful and wealthy man with a reputation for being strict but fair. As Nafisa introduces herself, Mr. Kwame is immediately captivated by her beauty, particularly her figure. Despite his attempts to remain professional, he finds himself drawn to her in ways he cannot explain. As days pass, Mr. Kwame becomes increasingly distracted by Nafisa's presence. He finds himself daydreaming about her during meetings and glancing at her whenever she walks by. Nafisa notices his attention but remains focused on her work, seemingly unaware of the effect she has on him. Unable to resist any longer, Mr. Kwame invites Nafisa to dinner under the guise of discussing work. Nafisa, aware of the implications but intrigued, accepts the invitation. The dinner is set in a high-end restaurant, where the conversation quickly shifts from work to more personal topics. After the dinner, Mr. Kwame's obsession with Nafisa grows. He begins to shower her with gifts and compliments, much to the discomfort of his wife, who senses a change in her husband's behavior. Nafisa, meanwhile, enjoys the attention and the luxuries that come with it. Mrs. Kwame starts to notice the late nights, the unexplained gifts, and her husband's distracted behavior. Her suspicions grow as she realizes that Nafisa might be the cause of the rift in their marriage. Determined to find out the truth, she begins to investigate. Mrs. Kwame confronts her husband about Nafisa, accusing him of having an affair. Mr. Kwame denies it at first but eventually admits that he is drawn to Nafisa. The confrontation leads to a heated argument, shaking the foundation of their marriage. Despite the confrontation, Mr. Kwame continues to meet with Nafisa in secret. Their relationship becomes more intimate, and Nafisa starts to see Mr. Kwame as more than just her boss. The secrecy adds excitement, but also tension, as they both fear being caught. Mr. Kwame offers Nafisa a promotion, using his power and wealth to keep her close. Nafisa, knowing the implications of accepting, decides to use this opportunity to secure her position in his life, further deepening the rift between Mr. Kwame and his wife. Mrs. Kwame finally uncovers the truth about her husband's affair with Nafisa. Devastated, she decides to take matters into her own hands. She plans to expose the affair and bring shame to both Mr. Kwame and Nafisa, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation. Mrs. Kwame leaks information about the affair to the media, causing a public scandal. Mr. Kwame's reputation is tarnished, and Luxcorp faces a PR crisis. Nafisa is thrust into the limelight, her once private life now exposed for all to see. With the scandal out in the open, Luxcorp faces a major crisis. Clients begin to withdraw their business, then the company's stock plummets. Mr. Kwame, once a powerful and respected figure, is now struggling to keep his company afloat. Nafisa is fired from Luxcorp as a result of the scandal, leaving her without the luxuries she had grown accustomed to. She struggles to find another job, as her reputation has been damaged by the affair. Meanwhile, Mr. Kwame faces the possibility of losing everything, including his marriage. Mrs. Kwame files for divorce, determined to leave her unfaithful husband behind. The divorce proceedings are bitter, with both sides fighting over assets and custody of their children. The once happy marriage has been completely destroyed by the affair. Mr. Kwame's life continues to spiral downward. He loses his position at Luxcorp, and the company faces bankruptcy. His friends and colleagues distance themselves from him, leaving him isolated and regretful of his actions. Nafisa, now living in a modest apartment, reflects on her choices and the impact they have had on her life. She regrets getting involved with Mr. Kwame and wishes she could undo the damage she has caused. She contemplates reaching out to Mrs. Kwame to apologize. Nafisa reaches out to Mrs. Kwame, seeking forgiveness. Mrs. Kwame, still hurt but moved by Nafisa's sincerity, agrees to meet with her. The two women have a tense but honest conversation, where Nafisa admits her mistakes and expresses her deep regret. After their conversation, Mrs. Kwame finds a sense of closure. Although she cannot forget the betrayal, she realizes that holding on to the anger is only hurting her father. She decides to move forward with her life, focusing on her children and rebuilding her future without Mr. Kwame. Nafisa decides to start afresh in a new city, far from the scandal that tainted her name. She takes up a job at a small farm, determined to work hard and rebuild her life from the ground up. Although she still feels the weight of her past actions, she is committed to making better choices. Mr. Kwame, now divorced and estranged from his children, lives a life of solitude. Reflecting on his choices, he realizes that his obsession with Nafisa and pursuit of pleasure have cost him everything he once held dear. He dedicates his remaining years to charity work, hoping to find some redemption. Years pass, and Nafisa continues to live a quiet life in her new city. One day, she receives a letter from Mrs. Kwame, who, after much reflection, has decided to fully forgive both Nafisa and Mr. Kwame. Mrs. Kwame invites Nafisa to a charity event she's organizing, signaling that she has moved on and wishes to help others do the same. Nafisa attends the charity event, where she is reunited with Mrs. Kwame. The atmosphere is warm and welcoming, and the event focuses on helping women who have faced hardships similar to what Mrs. Kwame endured. During the event, Nafisa and Mrs. Kwame share a heartfelt conversation, solidifying their peace with the past. As Nafisa mingles with the guests, she unexpectedly crosses paths with Mr. Kwame, who is also at the event. The encounter is tense at first, but both have changed significantly since their affair. They exchange polite words, acknowledging the pain they caused each other and others, but also expressing hope that they have both learned and grown. After the charity event, Nafisa and Mrs. Kwame stay in touch, occasionally meeting for coffee or lunch. Their relationship, once strained by betrayal, evolves into a respectful friendship. Nafisa also begins to volunteer at the charity, using her experiences to help other women avoid the mistakes she made. Mr. Kwame, now deeply involved in his charity work, decides to leave the city and move to a quieter place where he can live out the rest of his life in peace. Before leaving, he meets with Nafisa one last time to apologize sincerely for the role he played in their affair and to wish her well. Nafisa accepts his apology, and they part on good terms. Nafisa, having learned from her past, eventually finds love again, this time with a kind and humble man who accepts her for who she is. Their relationship is built on trust, respect, and mutual understanding. Nafisa feels at peace with her new life, having moved beyond the shadows of her past. Mrs. Kwame continues to run her charity, helping countless women rebuild their lives after hardship. She becomes a well-respected figure in the community, known for her strength, compassion, and wisdom. Her ability to forgive and move forward inspires many, including Nafisa, who continues to support the charity in any way she can. Nafisa's life is now one of contentment and peace. She has a steady job, a loving partner, and a small circle of close friends, including Mrs. Kwame. She reflects on how far she has come, realizing that she has finally found the happiness and stability she once sought through more superficial means. Nafisa becomes a mentor at the charity, sharing her story with younger women who are at risk of making the same mistakes. She uses her experiences to teach them about the importance of self-respect, the dangers of pursuing superficial goals, and the value of genuine love and loyalty. Nafisa reflects on the journey she has taken, from a life of temptation and regret to one of redemption and peace. She is proud of the woman she has become and is grateful for the second chance she has been given. Her story serves as a reminder that it is never too late to change and that true happiness comes from within.